April McKinney, but in honor of Halloween this week, I have dressed up as Lucy from I Love Lucy. I loved this show when I was growing up, so I couldn't think of a better person to be for Halloween. Plus, I really like the red wig. So what I'm going to show you, or what Lucy is going to show you today, is some turkey meatballs made in the crock pot. This is great for a night like Halloween when a lot of times we're getting together with family. You can stick some toothpicks in these and serve them as an appetizer or a snack food, or you could also serve them with spaghetti for spaghetti and meatballs. But they're pretty unique and they're really delicious and easy, and of course the crock pot is so popular, so I'm continuing on with that series. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I have is a ½ pound of ground turkey, just regular lean ground turkey, and then another ½ pound of turkey sausage. I love the flavor that the turkey sausage gives to this. I also have some fresh grated Parmesan cheese that I'm going to put in here, about ½ cup. I love to grate my own cheese whenever I'm using cheese of any kind. It just melts better, it has a much better flavor, it's much fresher, and it tastes stronger, so you don't have to use as much. So I've got a ½ cup of cheese in here. I'm also going to add in about ¼ cup of onion. I'm going to reserve some of that onion for the sauce, but I'm going to put some in here as well. I'm going to get 1 egg in here. Crack that egg. Put that right in. And then I'm also going to get 1 clove of garlic. Right in. It's going to give it some great flavor. Alrighty, now this is kind of a special ingredient, I guess. This is my quinoa, and I'm going to use this in place of breadcrumbs. I just saw this and I thought this was such a great idea. So you're adding protein, you're adding a whole grain in here, and you're making these meatballs really healthy and still delicious with a great texture. So I've got 3/4 cup of already cooked quinoa, and then I'm going to get some seasonings in here as well. I'm going to put in a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, right in. I'm going to put about 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and then some fresh ground pepper. And with fresh ground pepper, I'm going to do probably about ½ teaspoon. All right, and one other thing that I want to add in here, just to give the meatballs a little fresh flavor. I love basil, it's such a great herb. So I'm just going to get some basil leaves cut up and put right in. I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons. All right, 2 tablespoons going in. And I got a little extra cheese here, so I'm going to go ahead and just throw it in. Can't hurt anything. Cheese only makes things better, right? Okay, so got to take the rings off for this because it gets a little messy, but if you try to do this with a spoon, it just won't be the same. I'm going to come in and just start mixing it up. You really got to get your hands in here. Got to get that egg mixed in. It's kind of fun to do too, but you definitely don't want to lick your fingers afterwards. All right. One of the keys to making meatballs or meatloaf, whenever you're doing this with your hands, one of the reasons I like to do it with my hands really, is because I can really tell how well it's mixed up. And you do not want to over mix this, especially when you're using lean meat like turkey. They can get sort of tough. So I'm just mixing it right until it's combined. And we're almost there. I mean, it doesn't even take maybe 30 seconds. Get some of it off my fingers. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands real quick and then we'll make the sauce. Okay, hands are clean, so I'm gonna set this aside and I'll show you what we're gonna do with that in just a minute. But first I want to make this very simple sauce. I hate to even call it making it because it's so easy. I just have a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes, ½ cup of onion, chopped up, and then, again with the Italian seasoning, I'm going to do a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And all I'm going to do is just sort of mix that up, get it all incorporated, and that's the sauce. You can also use a marinara sauce if you wanted to and add the onion and Italian seasoning, but that's just going to be nice and rich and tomatoey. And it's going to taste great on those meatballs. So let's go over and get the meatballs browned and we'll be almost ready to get in the crock. So the next step in this recipe is just to make little meatballs with the mixture that we made. About the size or a little smaller than a golf ball. You don't want to make them too big. And then I have actually got this skillet. It's heating up to medium-high heat, and I got a little bit of olive oil in it. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to brown the meatballs, because if I just rolled these up and put them in the crock pot, I would come back later, 5 hours later, however long, and I'd have a big, huge mess. It would basically be quinoa, turkey, spaghetti sauce. It would not be meatballs. So you definitely cannot skip this step where we're browning the meatballs. It's starting to get a little sizzle, and I'll show you what they look like when they're done. We're not cooking them all the way through. We're just getting them a little browned. And it's just gonna seal in all those flavors and keep the shapes intact. So I have a little single layer here, and I'm just going to begin to turn them. You can see the little golden brown color that they start to get. It really only takes about a minute to do this. All right, my meatballs are looking great, so I'm gonna go ahead and get half of this sauce right into the bottom of the crock pot. That looks perfect. And then I'll go ahead and put my meatballs, I'm just gonna nestle them right into that sauce. See how they're just sticking together already? They're perfect. All right, all the meatballs are in, so let's just pour that sauce right over the top. Get everything covered. And I will put this on low for 5 hours, and these babies will be done. Okay guys, while my meatballs are cooking, I actually already made some of these yesterday, and I can't tell you how good they are. They are just delicious, they're healthy, and I love the idea of having them with the toothpicks as a little appetizer for Halloween or any special occasion. So this is what they look like. I just garnished them with a little basil and fresh Parmesan cheese. So I hope you enjoy. Happy Halloween. Have a good one.